Hello 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. This is Skill Builder 8, and today we are going to continue looking at the time signature of 6/8. Remember, we are preparing to play an awesome piece with the high schoolers in the spring concert, and it includes some 6/8, and so we want to be prepared and ready to roll when we get that music in a couple of weeks. And so you should take out the worksheet that I gave you in class. We will not do the whole thing today, but we are going to go through enough so you can get some practice playing in 6/8, and we're going to learn a very important bowing technique that you see in 6/8 quite often. And so just as a quick review of what 6/8 means, that top number, that 6, is telling us that there are 6 beats in every measure. And that bottom number, the 8, is telling us that the beat, the note that counts as one beat, is the 8th note. And so as we look through every measure of 6/8, we should be able to see 6/8 notes worth of music. Now that doesn't necessarily mean there will be 6/8 notes, but there could be a combination of different notes that add up to 6/8 notes worth of value. For example, a quarter note is worth 2 eighth notes. So if you see a quarter note, that counts as 2 beats. A dotted quarter note is worth 3 eighth notes, so that counts as 3 beats. And sometimes you will even see, especially in this page, you see it quite a bit, a dotted half note, which is 6 beats. It takes up the whole measure, all 6/8 notes. So let's start with number 115. This is called a rhythm rap. It's just getting us thinking about counting the rhythm. There are no pitches. It's not on a staff. We can play it with an open string after, but let's practice our counting. So our first measure, we do actually have 6/8 notes, and so you would count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The next measure, we have 2 dotted quarter notes. Now I just told you a minute ago that those each are worth 3 beats. So when you play them, you would count 3 beats or 3/8 notes for each of those, but they would be sustained, or you would hold those notes out for 3/8 notes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So even though we're still counting to 6, you're thinking about how would that bow move when I'm playing this. Measure 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just 6/8 notes, easy peasy. And then our very last measure there's that dotted half note. That is worth 6 beats. So with your bow, it would be 1 6-beat note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's play number 115 on our open D string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, hopefully after all of that practice we did last week, this was easy peasy for you. And I'm guessing 116 will also be easy. It's the same rhythm, just different notes. So let's try playing 116 now, counting to 6 as we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Excellent. Hopefully that was a good review of the things we did last week. We're going to move on to 117, which has something new in it. It's called Hooked on 6/8, and that's a very clever name because what we are going to learn is something called hooked bowing. Now, hooked bowing can happen not in 6/8, but it's a very common thing that you see in 6/8, and in fact, some of you in your part for this special piece that we're playing with the high schoolers do have this hooked bowing, and so we're going to go over it. That way, if you need it, you know how to do it. You can see, and you probably have noticed, measure 3 in 117 is the measure that looks kind of strange. And I've written just the rhythm and the symbols, not the pitches, not the notes, but up on the board right here. This is what hooked bowing looks like. You'll know it's hooked bowing because you have the staccato marking, the dots over your notes, and the notes are connected by a slur or a tie. And so when you see this in music, you should think automatically, oh, that is hooked bowing. Okay, here's what hooked bowing means. It means that you are going to do 2 notes moving your bow in the same direction, but your bow is going to stop in between those 2 notes. So in this case, I would play the first 2 notes down and the second 2 notes up. Now what makes it a little bit more tricky in 6/8 is that these two notes, the two notes in each pair, are actually uneven. They aren't worth the same amount of beats as each other, because you can see one of them is a quarter note and one of them is an eighth note. And if you are really good at counting, you will realize that this quarter note is exactly twice as long as this eighth note. And so you'll have a long bow, stop your bow, and then a short bow. If I were to play this, actually before I even play it, if I were to count this quarter note would be called 1, 2. This eighth note would be 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I played it on open D, it would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And see how I'm moving my bow in. I'm doing 2 downs and 2 ups, but I'm stopping the bow in between. That's what makes this hooked bowing. We might even in class practice doing a scale like this. So 2 downs and 2 ups for each pitch. So you could do D, D, and this is just one of those techniques that it feels a little awkward at first. Even the high schoolers, when they started doing it this year, and they've done it before, they said, man, this is kind of an awkward thing. And so we practiced it and now they have it down. But when it's new to you, it does feel a little bit weird. And so you just have to practice it. Make sure you're really counting. You don't want to cheat this quarter note and not give it 2 beats, because remember that in 6/8, those quarter notes do get 2 beats. So it should be twice as long as the eighth note. But you can see in measure 3 for 117, we have this rhythm, and so rhythm and bowing. So when we get there, we are going to do hooked bowing. So let's go through 117. I'm going to play it. You can play it with me. See if you can get that hooked bowing when we get there. 1, 2, 3, ready, here we go. Excellent. Now, a lot of times when you're playing in 6/8, it might be faster. We're practicing it really slow right now because this is brand new to us. But just to show you what it might look like if this were faster, here's 117 at this tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's a much faster tempo, but that's a more common tempo that you might see with that hooked bowing, with the down, down, up, up, quarter, and eighth note pattern that we see in measure 3. Let's move on to the final thing we're going to do today, number 118. Row, row, row your boat. Hopefully this is a melody you all know. It's nice to play melodies that we know when we're learning new things, because you can very easily identify if you've done something incorrectly, because you know what it's supposed to sound like. And so let's look at just the first line of row, row, row your boat. Let's count through the rhythm, what the bowing might look like, and how many beats each note would get, just for the top line. So we have 1, 2, 3, so a 3-beat note, 4, 5, 6. Now measure 2, I see a hooked bowing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So measure 2 will be down, down, up. Okay. Measure 3, it does have a 2, by the way, in a circle over the top of measure 3. That's for if you were playing this in a round, so don't get confused by the measure numbers. Measure 3, we have 2 hooked bowings, down, down, up, up, and then measure 4 is 1, 2, 3, and then measures 4, 5, and 6 you rest. Here is the top line. If you'd like to listen first, you can, or if you're feeling really comfortable with this, you can play with me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, check. Did you get the hooked bowing? If you didn't, go back and do it again. That's the hardest thing about this, is getting the down, down, up, up. It just feels awkward, but again, the more you do it, the easier it gets. How about the second line? This is measure 5. We count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're all eighth notes. Same thing with measure 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then measure, let's see, 5, 6, 7. We have some hooked bowing, down, down, up, up, and measure 8 is just 1, 2, 3, and then we rest for 4, 5, 6. Let's play the second line together, starting on a high D. 1, 2, 3, ready, here we go. 6. All right, I'll play all of 118 now. I'll do it twice actually. The first time I'll do it slow, and the second time I'll do it a little bit faster for those of you who are ready for a challenge. So here's slow 118. 1, 2, 3, ready, here we go. 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Excellent. And then a little bit faster if you're ready for the challenge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, ready, here we go. So hopefully this 6/8 stuff is starting to make a little bit more sense. I know this is tough, so just keep having grit and working really hard on it, and we will continue to talk about this and work on it in class. So everyone have a great day, and I'll see you next time.